Jesus said, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they will be filled." Those who crave, even more those who need to experience righteousness, are blessed or well off for their way of thinking. You see, their minds are not filled with schemes set on taking advantage of people for selfish gain. No, they desire a just world. However, so often this desire feels like it goes unmet due to what appears to be a famine of righteousness in the land. Do you know where righteousness can be found? I mean, you look in places where justice is supposed to reign, but see the ignorant being misled. You look where building up is supposed to happen, but see the weak are being pushed around. And you look to the news for glimmers of hope, but are bombarded with so many stories of violence and crime in government, religion, schools, neighborhoods, jobs, and families. It leaves you wondering, is there any righteousness or equity to be found? Jesus spoke of the days we're in long ago. He said, because of the increase of lawlessness, the love of many will grow cold. A love grows cold, is expressed less, and is shared less when folks feel it's useless. And I have to tell you, there's a lot of folks growing cold today because lawlessness and unrighteousness are going unchecked. But here's what I'm sure of. No injustice can demolish justice. No evil can destroy good. And those who believe this truth can be filled by righteousness in this sometimes unjust world again and again. One way to fill our yearning for justice is trusting God to be righteous. This means you believe God will do right by you, even when others do wrong against you or when circumstances seem unfair. Some years ago, I remember talking to my mom about a challenging work situation. I had hopes for a role I was assigned to, but someone I worked with in a higher position had other plans in mind that canceled mine. I felt disappointed, let down, and behind. I complained to my mom about it being unfair, and she said, "God will make up for it." She knew from experience. Once on her job, she faced a challenge and had similar feelings. But despite what she went through and the delays it caused, God made up for the time, money, and energy that was lost. God did right by Mama. And my friends, God will do the same for you. And when God does, it may not be exactly what you hoped for or what you thought you'd get, but I promise it will leave you content. Another way our desire for righteousness can be filled is by adding it to the world ourselves. What I'm saying is, to assure we eat righteousness, we can make our own plate. To assure we drink equity, we can pour our own glass, and we can do the same for others. Now, what's interesting to me is how hunger and thirst are typically satisfied by consuming food or drink. However, when it comes to the spiritual life, we are not satisfied by consuming only, but also by sharing. I can't tell you the number of times people have come up to me saying how fulfilled they are after trying to add some justice to the world by doing things like caring for the sick, feeding the unhoused, or being a big sibling to a lonely child. They return again and again, making statements like, "I went there to be a blessing, but left feeling blessed." I think the reason this happens is because, as Jesus teaches, those who hunger for, thirst for, look for, pray for, and contribute for righteousness will be filled by it. They will be satisfied. Now, I know this is a bold statement with all that's going on in the world, but I have found it to be true. You see, we can be filled with righteousness, and I've learned it doesn't take a big, grand act for it to happen. When we give a small gesture of support, a kind word, a hug in an empty room, a couple dollars for a meal, a vote for the common good, or show up to support someone with no advocate, it reminds people and ourselves that justice is not dead, nor has equity been executed. There is a righteous God. There are people who are practicing righteousness, and we can 2. Holding this realization in the forefront of your mind, despite what's going on in the world or in your world, will nourish your longings for righteousness again and again. Peace.